Hey guys, David here. E3. It happened. Let's talk about it. Funny story, on Monday we had all the conferences and I wasn't watching, I wasn't live streaming because the internet in my house is a total bitch. And because of that, it's just way too slow for me to be able to watch all of these things in a very cohesive manner. But I decided, you know what? Screw it, at least I gotta try. I jumped over to IGN, I went over to their homepage, and they had this little player that was streaming the live event, which was, I believe at the time, the Sony conference on Monday for E3. And the first thing I see is Norman Reedus' ass. Yeah, it's a good way to start E3. So if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit of a gamer, so E3 is definitely going to be something that's going to capture my attention, and I think that this year we had some biggins to talk about. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single little thing that was unveiled at E3 because I'm just not paid enough for that, so I'm going to talk about the things that do interest me on on a much grander scale, and also on a personal level, because some games that were unveiled at E3 from different companies are sequels for franchises that I've been attached to for some time, and trust me, I am going to go off on those. So because of that, if you managed to notice that I didn't talk about a certain game that maybe you wanted me to hear me talk about it, then you understand now why, because I probably just don't have that big enough of an interest to invest in that game. So with that being said, let me put on my spectacles. Okay, so let me pull up my little list here because my laptop is currently being used to provide the background image that you see before you. Okay, so first up, a little game called Agents of Mayhem, which was actually unveiled, I think, a day or two, maybe 2 or 3 days before E3 from the guys who brought you Saints Row, and it seems like it's adaptive, like some kind of comic book. I'm not too keen on the details, but it looks like it takes place somewhat in the same sort of universe, even though it just doesn't tie in with that particular storyline. But I saw the cinematic trailer, which is the only thing that we have so far, and I'm digging the art style. I'm digging the blend of 3D animation with a couple of anime 2D cartoonish effects here and there, like some of the smoke and some of the sparks flying out look like something out of a cartoon, out of a anime. So that's pretty neat. The characters, however, could use some work because I feel like I've seen these guys before. Black dude shows up and the first thing he says is "Ahoy, motherfuckers." So that game has my interest, but I'm definitely gonna need to see a little bit more because as of right now, can't shake the little Overwatch comparisons that a lot of people are making because they're kind of on point with that. Next up, we got Batman Arkham VR. So I'm not too sold on VR just yet because it is a little costly. I am aware that PlayStation VR is going to be available later on this year. It's going to be going for $400. That's almost an entire console onto itself. So investing in a VR headset I think it's going to take some time. I don't think until next year am I going to even become interested in purchasing my own VR headset. But Batman Arkham VR, announced exclusively for this platform, it's starting to rope me in. It's starting to rope me in into this trend of bringing virtual reality to fruition. It's interesting to see that somehow, some way, they're going to utilize the VR technology to actually make you feel like the Batman. Next up, we got Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 is actually a little bit interesting. Needless to say, I'm way more interested in this than the next Call of Duty because Battlefield 1, taking a step back in time to the World War One period, but making it look badass. Not only with the improved graphics, but also the fact that back then they had some legit warfare. Like they had some weapons and tanks and all these kinds of like armor and weaponry and arsenals that you wouldn't even believe. And I think that some of it might be like a little exaggerated for the video game to make it a little bit cooler. But not only do I acknowledge it, but I also appreciate the bold decision of going back in history with the Battlefield franchise. Something that the next entry could definitely take away from. Speaking of which, next up, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I don't care. I'm just gonna stay out of that dogfight. Okay, next up, I just want to talk about this briefly. Conan Exiles. It's a game, I can't remember what the developer was, but basically similar to how they did with Mad Max, they were hoping to bring that type of property and make a cool game out of it. And that first cinematic trailer kind of got me a little bit interested, especially since I enjoyed Mad Max an awful lot from last year. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed that game. It was one of my highlights of the year. And I know that it's not the same developer. I think it's some other company. I can't remember. But it got me legitimately interested with that opening cinematic until the recent gameplay trailer came out. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but it looks like one of those Clash of Clans games or whatever, those mobile games that now Schwarzenegger himself, Conan himself, is advertising on TV. It looks like that. What happened? All I know is that this game has indubitably dropped off the map for me. Next up, Cuphead. Cuphead looks very, very interesting. I wouldn't mind checking it out. Just recently, I actually went ahead and I bought Shovel Knight because I really want to take appreciation with these games that are trying to take a very unique art style and apply it to a retro style of gaming that we have long forgotten, with all these microtransactions and all these first-person shooters and all these different things and what we can do with technology, that maybe we should go ahead and look back at some of the simpler times and what made video games great for us in the first place. From what I hear, Shovel Knight exceeded at that, and I'm hoping to find that out for myself once I get to that game, and it looks like Cuphead is going to be doing the same thing, especially when they're so hooked by the art style of looking like a 1950s cartoon, which definitely has me interested as well. Got a new expansion for Destiny, Rise of Iron, which looks very interesting. I like that they're taking what is usually a science fiction aesthetic with the actual core game as well as the expansions, Taken King, all that stuff, and then putting it in a much more rural environment where it's all about the woods and the snow and stuff. That looks actually rather cool. Next up is Days Gone, which is a PlayStation 4 exclusive from Sony Bend company, I can't remember, but Sony Bend. And Days Gone looks interesting, but I will admit it also looks just a tad bit generic. I'm trying to fight to dig something into that trailer that I saw for something a little bit more interesting and captivating, but once again, it's another outbreak that wiped out civilization. Everything went to shit, and our main character is one of the survivors, and he's moody, he lost his wife or something like that. I don't know, I just feel like we've been in this premise so many times at this point that this game is going to have to show us something completely new and captivating in the trailers to come. So we got Dead Rising 4 with the return of Frank West, who I believe was the main character in Dead Rising 2. Never got into the franchise. I do, however, have Dead Rising 3 because it was super cheap, and the premise really does hook me. It really does intrigue me of how they basically take what is usually that serious tone of the zombie games and just says, fuck it. Just fuck it, like customize your look, customize your weapons, and just go berserk, because one of the big things about those games is just how many zombies can the developer put on screen, and then how many zombies can you destroy out of those NPCs that the company put there for you to destroy. And that's the whole angle for these games, at least that is for me. And Dead Rising 4 seems to be taking that and adding it up to 11 with all these crazy, well, he's got the Zamboni that's all decorated with like Christmas stuff. That looks great. Okay, here we go. Naked Norman Reedus. Death Stranding, the new Hideo Kojima game. Again, it's a cinematic, doesn't tell us jack shit about the game except for some of those people that have taken some of the visuals within that trailer, like the whales or whatever those things were on the beach, as well as all those fish, and trying to interpret something out of it. Like they looked it up on Wikipedia. I don't know. I have no clue what it is. All I know is that there's a baby disappears and you see these footprints. Classic Kojima. Just weirding the fuck out of you. Detroit Become Human, a new game from Quantic Dream, which looks like Heavy Rain combined with iRobot, and therefore given the same mechanics from Beyond Two Souls. Still, however, the trailer has me definitely intrigued. I just hope that scene that we saw is just one of like dozens, because if it's only like one of a handful, that's a little bit of a disappointment, considering that trailer ends with literally showing you all the outcomes of what could have happened if things have gone differently. So hopefully they have something a little bit better up their sleeve. We didn't see that woman from that first trailer from, I think, last year's E3 or a PlayStation Experience, I can't remember. But there was a previous trailer that had this like woman who was an android herself. We didn't see her this time around. We got this guy, I can't remember his name, but hopefully there's enough here to actually give us a very outstanding science fiction or sci-fi opera within the video game world. Okay, here we go. Dishonored 2. I played the first Dishonored just recently. I liked it quite an awful lot. There were some flaws within the story, especially when it came to your main protagonist that I just didn't really care for. maybe I will now, because he does return in Dishonored 2, and this time he does have a voice to him that hopefully will flesh out his character a lot more. And also, not only can you play as Cora, but you can also play as Emily Caldwin, the little girl from the first game, who has now grown up to be one of the protagonists. And what I see from this so far, from not only the cinematic trailers but also the gameplay, is that there are doing some tweaks to it to have it be a little bit more refined. The art style is still the same, so you're not going to see like any humongous graphical leaps in terms of realism, but you don't need to. As long as you have a captivating world and a setting and an art style, I feel like Dishonored 2 can definitely succeed. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition, because the word legendary was already used, so they kind of screwed up there. But we're getting a remaster for Skyrim. Looks awesome. I just don't know if I'm going to be investing some more money into it, because as pretty as it look, and trust me, my jaw dropped when I saw that trailer, and I love how well cued the music was. It's like, oh, you see the PlayStation 3 graphics, and then the music just starts, and that's when they wipe away the PS3 with the PS4 remastered footage, and I was like, I feel like just like I did with GTA 5, I'm going to have to maybe rent that, like through Redbox or Gamefly or whatever, try it out for a number of days, and if I like it enough, maybe I'll make a second purchase for it, but at this point, I don't know. For Honor looks very, very interesting. I like the concept of these three cultures of the samurai, the knight, and the Viking fighting each other, but somewhere in the midst there's like some bigger plan going on that these different factions are going to have to join forces to get rid of it. I think that it's really cool, and from the look of it, the gameplay is just going to be as deep and thought-provoking. So I'm definitely looking forward to that original IP. Gears of War 4, I never got into Gears of War, but I do have the first one, and it definitely looks interesting, and I think my playthrough of that first game, the Ultimate Edition on Xbox One, will then dictate whether or not I'm going to go for 4, and whether or not I should just make that leap instead of going back and playing 2, 3, and Judgment. Please let me know in the comments, should I do that, or can I just easily just go to 4? Then we got a big one, a big one. God of War, or God of War 4 if you want to call it that. Loving it. I am loving it. That was a great reveal. We had rumblings here and there, like rumors like, oh, they might make a new God of War, but I legitimately was not expecting it to get not only a trailer, but almost a somewhat scripted playthrough of one of the levels from the game here at E3. And it was outstanding. I'm digging the Norse mythology. However, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Not a humongous fan. I don't hate it. In fact, I don't even dislike it. But I'm not a huge fan of Kratos himself returning, because being that God of War 3 ended the way it did, I'm not gonna spoil it, I was hoping for Sony Santa Monica to take the property in a different direction, where they were kind of at that point remaking the game with not only a Norse mythology, but also a different Norse god, the Norse God of War, whatever that may be, if there even is a God of War for the Norse mythology. Bringing Kratos into the mix, it kind of just takes some wind away from the ending of God of War 3, at least for me. I'm really interested in the fact that Cory Barlog, who did God of War 2, is returning as director, so that definitely has me excited. I don't know how to feel about the much more somber tone, because in one hand, I enjoy seeing a different side to Kratos. It's really weird seeing Kratos talk. Not scream, talk. I'm gonna need some time to getting used to that, but I really am enjoying that atmosphere and him having a son and having a much more emotional layer to it than the previous games, where he was just like all angry and just tearing shit apart. But I do fear that every game, or at least every sequel for games that were bombastic and over the top, are going to take that Last of Us turn, because it's a new generation console, so they feel like they need to do it, and not every game needs to do that. Alright, Horizon Zero Dawn, definitely interested in that game. It's actually one of the games that I was looking forward to this year until it got pushed, but fortunately it's in February, so we didn't really get a significant push, and we don't really have to wait that long, but so far it's looking gorgeous. I enjoy the premise. Definitely looking forward behind the developer behind the game, which is usually known for the Killzone games, and finally they're doing something a little bit more, not only much more different, but what looks to be much more emotionally involved. Injustice 2. Just recently I've been trying to get my girlfriend to play Injustice, and what a much more relevant time to do that now that we got the announcement of Injustice 2 with many more characters. An interesting little premise. I don't know what the actual story behind Injustice 2 is. All I know is that everybody's getting power armor for some reason. The gameplay looks neat. I'm enjoying pulling off all the finishers, all the little scene transitions. Little bummed, just a little bummed that the graphics don't look that much more superior, especially when this is a game that was built from the ground up for the new generation of consoles. But as long as the gameplay is fun and awesome, it's fine. Sign me up. So 2016, besides killing off celebrities and bringing us video game movies, there's also another little thing in 2016 that I believe is also occurring, and that's reoccurring jokes being destroyed. First it was Leo winning an Oscar, then it was shutting those people that were making fun of Hodor on Game of Thrones up, and now it is the actual concrete release of The Last Guardian. Not tremendously excited because I'm never really seen why people are looking forward to this game so much. Out of this development company, I've only played one game, and that's Eco, whatever. And I do have Shadow of the Colossus. In fact, that's the next game I'm planning on playing after the one that I'm currently playing right now. So I'm hoping to find something in that game that's gonna make me jump in the bandwagon for looking forward to Last Guardians as much as everybody else is. However, I will say this: the trailer they showed at E3, you can't do that, man. You can't show what resembles a dog whimpering on the ground with that music playing. You can't do that. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild looks great. I love the art style. I'm not entirely sure on the fact that it takes place like in the actual wild. I'm hoping that maybe some dungeons will come about. I mean, it is ridiculously early. I'm not expecting this thing to come out until probably the fall of 2017, but hopefully between now and then we'll see a little bit more with the gameplay, with the combat system, with the dungeons that Zelda has always been known for. Because as great as it is that this world is going to be like 12 times bigger than Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword and whatever, and as great as the art style is and the atmosphere and what they're pouring into this game, I do want me a fair share of dungeons that will make the puzzles very interesting and will make that level of progression, especially if they do take an RPG turn, open world RPG turn with Zelda. That would be just so great. That would be so awesome. And so far we're not seeing that much of it, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Give them time to bring that forward. I mean, they're delaying it for some reason. That reason better be good. I never got into the Mafia games, Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, which I think are like years apart. But now we got Mafia 3, and I saw that trailer from E3. Definitely has me interested. I'm enjoying the era, the 1960s gangster stuff. You got some really heavy issues going on. You saw the freaking KKK in that trailer, alright? And so many people are just begging, foaming at the mouth for the ability to kill them all with a machine gun. And so am I. Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect 2 is actually the game I'm playing right now, and I'm loving it. Definitely better than the first one. It has me hooked. I'm spending so many hours on it that I'm getting a headache every day, but still, it's an amazing game, and what a good time to be releasing some details on Mass Effect Andromeda. Details that I will unfortunately put to the side for now, and I didn't even watch the trailer. Because I'm scared. I'm a little scared that there's going to be some details within that press release for that game, as well as the trailer, as well as the stuff that we've seen that was released at E3, that will be tied into some spoilers for Mass Effect 2 and 3. So let me get through 2 and 3, and then I'll take a look at those little details that they released for Mass Effect Andromeda at E3. Pokemon Sun and Moon, another Pokemon game. Not much looks different from it, but still, I enjoy the Pokemon games right now. Me and my girlfriend are trying to collaborate in trying to complete Pokemon Y, because that's our game for now. So I'm definitely still interested in Pokemon. I'm finally jumped back into it with Pokemon Y, and I feel like my continuation of that will be Sun and Moon. Plus, I saw a video of the gameplay from E3, and there's a couple of features there that do capture my attention. One of them is being able to see what, or at least read a description of what move you're about to execute in the fight, rather than waiting until the fight is over so you can go into the menu and pull it up and be like, okay, that's what it does. I like that you can actually pull that description up on the fly, so that then right there and then you can make the decision. That's actually rather cool. There's this game called Recore that's coming exclusively to Xbox, and that looks very interesting. I like the little design of the world. There's this section right there which is like floating, trying to solve a puzzle. Definitely looking forward to that. It looks like one of those smaller games that will have this level of intimacy and emotion to it, that it will actually turn out to be one of the bigger highlights of the year. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then we got Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil, never got into it, but this trailer, I commend them for finally going back to what made the horror games horror. You know, the atmosphere, the look, you know, the tone, all that stuff, instead of just explosions and gore. And I enjoy this trailer. A little iffy that they're going from third person to first person, especially to cater to the VR headset, but still, I like what they did with the logo, Evil 7. South Park, South Park, the Fractured But Whole. I really enjoyed the first one, Stick of Truth, so I'm loving that they're pretty much doing the same, well, not the same game, but they're taking the approach they did with the Stick of Truth and then applying it to not only science fiction, but most importantly, superhero movies. And with this trailer making fun of the franchises and the cinematic universes and these tie-ins and the cross universe, all that stuff, I enjoy it very much. That trailer had me laughing, and I'm definitely looking forward to that later this year. Spider-Man for the PS4. Trailer looked awesome. It's a cinematic that probably won't make it into the final game, but I'm looking forward to what Insomniac has up their sleeves. They're the guys that made Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. I am, however, just a little disappointed that it wasn't Sucker Punch who did this, because they're the ones who did Infamous, so that would have been kind of appropriate for them. But still, looking forward to it. I love the design for Spider-Man, except for the silver spider symbol on the back and the front. That's the only thing I don't like, and they have plenty of time to change it back to black. Just saying. Walking Dead Season 3, it's finally coming back from Telltale. It's coming this fall, and it's not on the list, but Batman. Those two things from Telltale. Definitely looking forward to, especially Season 3. Seeing that trailer with Clementine looking all grown up, it really made me feel a little bit weird inside. And then we got Titanfall 2. I have the first Titanfall. I haven't played it yet, but I know that it doesn't have a single-player campaign, so it's just a matter of just playing it and go through the matches and getting an idea for the actual gameplay. But seeing that Titanfall 2 will have a story that hopefully will pull at the heartstrings, because it looks like it's going to focus on a relationship between the pilot and the robot, definitely has me hooked. And finally, Watch Dogs 2. I like the first Watch Dogs, and this one has me interested, but from the cinematic trailer that showed us almost nothing to some of the gameplay that we did see at E3, I'm interested, but I do have some reservations. First of all, I'm getting tired of the hacker, hipster look type characters. It looks like this game's going to be filled with them, especially with our main protagonist here, Marcus. Because I never enjoyed that type of character that are wearing the denim vests and all that stuff, and they're like, screw the man. I just feel like we've been seeing that character so many times recently that it's just getting old. But hopefully they do something compelling with them, and hopefully they do more with the gameplay to kind of build upon the foundation of the first game, because so far from what I'm seeing, it just looks a little bit more like Watch Dogs. Just more of it. Take it, multiply it times 2. But hey, they got until November to change my mind. And that does it for my coverage of the games that I'm interested from E3. I know I didn't talk about every single thing, but look at this video, alright? It's just way too long. So please, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of E3, who had the best conference, what game did just made you blow your load when it got unveiled. Post in the comments below. And I am aware that E3 is not completely over. We still got, like, I think maybe another day or so of the actual convention, and it's possible that maybe something might be announced in that time. And if it's big enough, Red Dead Redemption 2. Sorry, I like it. Oh my god, my throat's killing me now after all that talking. I will definitely be covering it. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time. I'm about to lose my voice right now.